Hey everybody, this is Matthew and welcome back to Nerd News Today. And right now, it's gonna be camera gear story time. Now, I never meant to have a collection of travel tripods, but it just kind of worked out that way. I've had this Manfrotto travel tripod for like almost 10 years now. I've got a travel tripod that's currently being used to house the camera that's filming this very video, and I've got 3 more of these things that I use around the house and the studio for various shooting needs. And the reason I've ended up using so many of these guys is because quite honestly, they store really nicely, they're easy to put away, they're easy to take out, and they're easy to set up. But I never meant to have this many, but at this point I feel like I've become kind of a connoisseur of travel tripods. And that leads me to what we're taking a look at today, because today we've got from Vanguard their VEO 3T travel tripod. This specific model is the 204 ABP. It is made of an aluminum alloy, and I just got this for review today and I'm really excited to test this out. I took a look at this thing online and it has a few features that the typical travel tripod does not have. And those could come very much in handy depending on how you use this piece. But that also depends on how well this product actually functions. Before we get too deep into this review, I do want to mention that this product was sent to me by Vanguard for the purposes of review, but I'm under no obligation to say any positive words about it whatsoever. And this is my very first Vanguard tripod, period. Not just travel, but just in general, one of my first Vanguard tripods, so I'm definitely curious to see how they compare to the other brands I've used over the years. I'm going to do some tests of this thing, we're going to get into all that, but first I want to show you what's actually inside the box and what this tripod comes with. Alright, so here is our tripod. Let's go ahead and do a nice little unboxing and show you what's inside this thing. And I am going to make a comparison right at the top of this unboxing because even the bag is actually different, so I do want to point that out. So this is a Manfrotto travel tripod that I've been using for several years, and the way it opens and closes is with a zipper over here. There you go. So yeah, that's usually, I think, how most of these have been. I mean, I have a few others and they use a similar zipper bag. But this Vanguard travel tripod does not do that. There's actually no zipper on this one. Instead, what we have is here in the front, it's a little different. Yeah, it's got one of these little pull strings, almost like you'd get in like a laundry bag or something. And we just go ahead and squeeze this down, slide it open, and our tripod is gonna be hiding inside there. So let's go ahead and pull it out right now and see what we're dealing with. All right, so we have a bag of some parts in here. I guess we gotta keep unbagging since this is now an unbagging video, and everything's gonna fall right out, but that's okay. So yeah, there we go. So here is everything that's gonna be inside that bag when you first open this tripod up. Let's run down all the pieces. Obviously, this is our tripod. You guys can see that for yourself. We're gonna spend, of course, a ton more time on this in a few moments, but nice thing to note is that it is wrapped up inside the packaging here so that it will ideally not get scratched up too much. I mean, ultimately, these things are gonna get scratched up real fast. I can tell by looking at this body that, yeah, it's not gonna take long to get some weathering on it, but personally, I actually don't mind weathering on my tripod because it means I'm actually using it. But we do have this one little piece of wrapping here to kind of keep the tripod head safe and secure, and there's that over there. So we're going to come back to this in a few moments. First, I want to show you all the other goodies we got here. In this bag, we have our instruction manual as well as our quick release plate. According to Vanguard, the specific item number for this one is the QS72T, in case anybody's curious out there. Besides functioning as a quick release plate, this can also double as something to use for your smartphone. So you actually can just fold this right open to this section here. You can extend this part, and this part should go with it as well. There we go. And you can go ahead and, in theory, be able to slide a smartphone into that space. My phone is kind of on the big side, so it does take a little more wiggling to get it in there, but it will go in place and it will fit in there, and that's pretty handy to have. This bag has our Bluetooth remote as well as a battery, which I do appreciate them including a battery, and that is in fact packaged separately in there, and there is a separate owner's manual for this item as well, but you guys can see that. And this is how our Bluetooth remote looks like. So this can apparently sync up to a few different devices here. And here's that remote shutter owner's manual, by the way, in case you wanted to see that right now. I don't think there's going to be a ton of information in this, mostly just going to be a lot of specifications and how to set the actual device up. But yeah, that's going to be, I think, pretty straightforward to deal with. And one last thing too, you might have noticed that this actually already has a sort of clip on it, which will be handy to attaching it to our tripod legs later on. So I'm actually going to pop this out right now just so I can go ahead and install the battery and show you how fast that's going to work out here. And we're going to do this with information side up. We'll give it a little bit of a squeeze, but not gonna do that much because it's gonna hopefully just kick into gear as soon as we slide the battery. Yep, okay, slide the battery lid on top of it, and now it's blinking and it's ready to go. We've also got a trio of some spiked feet right here in this hand, 2 hexagonal wrenches, a low angle adapter. We have our handle over here, which has a plastic head and a metallic shaft to attach into the tripod. As for the head, that's the Vanguard VEO 2BP45T, which has a ball head with a pan handle. This lightweight head can hold up to 8.8 pounds, and just like the tripod body, is made of aluminum alloy. As for the tripod body, we'll be spending more time on that momentarily, but this extends to a full height of 55 inches, and once fully assembled, your tripod will weigh slightly over 3 pounds, and when not in use will fold up to a size of just below 16 inches long. And while I didn't show it, this tripod can also fully convert into a monopod, something very few travel tripods have the ability to do. In monopod mode, the product gains a bit more height, improving to slightly under 56 inches. Moving the legs in the tripod is the same as just about any travel tripod out there, and every company has their own mechanisms for locking in the legs. This one has a button on the side of each of the legs that you push in, and depending how far you push in, will allow you to shift the position of the legs. One click will have it a little bit open. The general neutral position is just without pressing that button at all, but if you press it at least a little bit, you can get a wider spread, and holding it down and continuing to pull it up is going to be how you close the tripod legs to fit back into the bag. And as soon as you start pulling the legs down, they will snap on those different ridges, and depending on where they end up, will tell you what the position's going to be. So I've got my VEO 3T here now set up in front of me, and assembling it was not that difficult, and really even calling it assembling is kind of a stretch. All I really had to do was attach the handle, which was not difficult at all, and get the plate set up into the tripod head, so really nothing too difficult to worry about here. Let me run down a few of the other finer functions that this tripod does, and then I'll start giving you my thoughts on the piece. One of the things that's unique to this Vanguard product and a lot of the other Vanguard tripods out there is that they all actually have a little opening here on the base of the tripod. And that section can be threaded with other products, including their VEO CP65 Creative Photo Kit. A lot of folks like to clamp different attachments to their tripod, whether it be the shaft or the legs, but this part allows you to actually thread an arm into it or whatever else you have, so that you've got something even more secure and safe on your tripod. If you want to learn more about the VEO CP65 Creative Photo Kit, I do have a video all about that on this channel, so do make sure you check that out. So as far as functionality, this thing is a breeze to use. It's really on the same level with just about any travel tripod out there. And for the most part has a lot of the same functions that you're used to seeing. Many other travel tripods use the exact same mechanism on the shaft and on the legs to make them extend, to go up and down. It's pretty much commonplace at this point. You know how to use it already, but yeah, it's nice and smooth here, no real issues. The aluminum alloy body is very strong and very sturdy. And right now I don't have anything on the bottom of this piece here because this does have a section to hold sandbags, but I don't really feel like I need it too much. I feel pretty solidly secure just based on the pure weight of this product itself. It's also a nice bonus that it does include the spiked feet if you need them. Moving around the tripod is very smooth also. I really had no issues with that as far as photography goes, but when it comes to videography, that's a little bit more iffy. And to be quite honest, finding travel tripods that are good for video can be a bit of a chore sometimes. This one here I don't think is too ideal for that, and that's just basically because of how the handle and how the head moves around. I can do it a little bit if I just loosen the tripod head just the tiniest bit, and I gotta be real careful because if I do it too much, then the entire head starts dropping too. So right now I can do it and it's on the level and that's okay, but if I start trying to like move it or do anything fancy, you can see it comes out of control very quickly. And unfortunately that is a bit of a problem here. You really don't want to be manipulating it like that, so for video, I'm gonna have to say it's kind of a not ideal choice unless you're gonna be using it for like a B camera for a secondary shot where it's just gonna be motionless. And in that case, your camera will be nice, safe, and sitting in that one spot with no problems. The quick release plate is always a wonderful boon to have with any tripod, so I very much appreciate that Vanguard has it here. And if you do want to have a different head, you can swap that out with no problems. At the end of the day, if you're looking for a solid travel tripod, I think anything in the Vanguard VEO 3T series is gonna fit what you need it to do, so long as that's not video. But if you're outside taking photos or if you're on the go somewhere and you need something small and quick to set up, then this guy has you covered. I like how easy it is to set up, but I also like how sturdy everything feels too. I don't feel like anything's gonna start sliding down on me. I like the ease of use when it comes to just getting this tripod out of the bag and ready to go. I've used a lot of travel tripods that use a lot of the same mechanisms that this particular one has, but everything on this one just really feels like 1 or 2 notches above those other products. The construction is just that much better. It's noticeably better. And especially if you've been using like a really cheap plastic travel tripod, you will be able to see the differences immediately in how good this thing is. But even if you've been using something like a Manfrotto product or any other brand name travel tripod that is made of metal or something like that, you will see that there's a lot of similarities, a lot of differences, and to be quite honest, a lot of it comes down to your personal preference for what you like. But I actually like this a lot, and I should actually say something. I've got a bias. I haven't mentioned at all during this entire video, but I actually am not personally a fan of these parts over here, these like spinny ways to lock down your legs and the shaft here. I actually don't like that at all. But this Vanguard VEO 3T product feels just so secure that I'm kind of getting over that prejudice right now, and I might even be replacing that Manfrotto that you saw at the start of this video for this model just because I feel like this is that much better. And I do want to shout out that there is one rubber grip on this guy too. Now, I think that most of the Vanguard products in the higher end do tend to have rubber grip on all the sides. I'm not positive about that, but at the very least you do have one rubberized grip here, and this is really nice because if you're going to be carrying this thing around and using it, you kind of want that. You don't want to be having your hands slip around all over this thing. It does just feel a lot more secure and a lot nicer to have this one grip here. Even if it's only the one, it is still nice to have because I've got a lot of travel tripods that don't use that at all. So overall, I can give this Vanguard VEO 3T tripod a pretty positive review here. I'm a real fan of this product. Visually, it might not look like anything that special or anything that different from what you used in the past, but it's got such great engineering and fine construction that it really is a step above a lot of the competition. If you're using other products in the Vanguard family, you also know that the ability to thread some other products into this thing is really great, and that's just a nice thing that a majority of other travel tripods don't include. It's simple, but the elegance is in that simplicity, and it works perfectly. You're gonna find yourself pulling this tripod out a lot more often when it comes to taking wildlife photography, outdoor photos, or even any indoor shoots you might need it for. Now, this 204 ABP model normally retails for about $170, but you can find it generally teetering and tottering around the $130, $120 range, depending on where you get it from. And for a travel tripod, I think that's actually a really good deal, no matter what that price point is. If you're a rookie photographer, yes, you can get a real cheap plastic one for like 30 to 60 bucks off of Amazon or whatever, and they're okay to get started with, but they're not gonna last you long. And quite honestly, the minute you get them outside and in the weather, they're gonna start shaking and rocking back and forth, even with a sandbag. You're gonna want something more sturdy and more metallic, and this is gonna solve a lot of problems for you off the bat. Easy to use, easy to store, easy to carry, lightweight as well. This VEO 3T is definitely one to consider. Now, if you'd like to pick up this tripod for yourself, I'm gonna have a few affiliate links in the description of this video below. If you happen to click any of those links and make some purchases, they help support this YouTube channel at no extra cost to you. So please consider clicking some of those links. So this is the Vanguard VEO 3T 204 ABP. That's a pretty big mouthful to say, but to summarize that, it's a really excellent tripod to use on the go that works just fine, looks fine, and will solve your steadiness and sturdiness needs all in one shot. So until next time, I'm Matthew. This has been Nerd News Today. Thanks for watching. Hope you guys will stick around for more video reviews here and everything else that we do on the channel. We'll see you guys next time, no matter how greeny that ISO gets.